I spent yesterday afternoon in the kitchen with a scraper and a heat gun, peeling back 3 decades of eggshell white from the pantry doorframe. I wasn't looking for the wood. I was looking for the ghosts of the pencil marks I had buried 40 years ago. Childhood is a guest who stays for a decade and then slips out the back door while you're busy checking your watch. I didn't lose my son to a move or a fallout. I lost him to the urgency of my own impatience. In the loud years, I treated his growth like a race I was coaching him to win. Every time I stood him against that doorframe, I was looking for progress, not presence. Hurry up and eat so you can be big, I'd tell him. I can't wait until you're old enough to handle this yourself. I told myself I was preparing him for the world. I called my distraction building a legacy. I was so busy ushering him toward the next milestone that I didn't realize I was actually asking him to disappear. The realization arrived on a Tuesday in the mid-90s. He was 6, tugging at my sleeve while I was deep in a mountain of paperwork. He wanted to show me a drawing of a dragon. I didn't even turn my head. I just said, "Later, buddy. I'm working for you right now." He stood there for a long, heavy beat, then slowly retracted his hand. He didn't argue. He just walked to the trash can, dropped the drawing inside, and went to his room. That was the day he stopped expecting me to be the audience of his life. We treat later like a bank account with an infinite balance, assuming we can deposit our neglect today and withdraw intimacy with interest when the career is settled. But childhood is a finite series of last times that happen without a closing ceremony. The last time he asked me to check for monsters. The last time he thought my lap was the safest place on earth. I was out buying the bricks for a kingdom, never noticing that the king had already outgrown the castle. I finally found the marks today. Under 4 layers of paint, the pencil lines are faint and jagged. I called him my 40-year-old son to tell him I found them, to tell him I was finally looking, but he answered with the same polite, clinical distance I had practiced on him for 20 years. He said he was too busy with a merger to talk and promised to call me later. I sat on the floor by that doorframe and realized that later had finally arrived. It was quiet, it was successful, and it was completely empty. You think you are managing a career, but you are really just curating an absence. You can provide the best education and a massive inheritance, but those are just receipts for a life you weren't invited to. Time doesn't care how much you provided. It only remembers who was sitting at the edge of the bed.